So this lesson is it's about fillers. So I have a new word for you, and that is disfluency. It's not a word you need to know for just everyday conversation, but in linguistics, it refers to interruptions in the regular flow of speech. So fillers are an example of disfluency, and we use fillers in conversation for a variety of reasons. Perhaps we get distracted, or we start to feel nervous, or we're just at a loss for what comes next. It is natural to use fillers in conversation. Fillers like or and they can be useful to regain your footing in the conversation. So it's a natural part of communication, and you don't really need to eliminate them altogether. But, and I'm sure you were waiting for a but, as a language learner, sometimes people may overuse fillers for the reasons I mentioned before. They get distracted, or they get nervous, or they're just at a loss for what comes next. And in that case, you want to minimize your use of fillers. And that's what we're going to try to do in this lesson. So I've broken this down into 3 parts. What's the difference between a pause and a filler? How do fillers affect your speaking fluency? And how do you avoid them? For right now, let's look at this through the lens of effective speaking, because the distinction is important, because one is good and one is not so good. If you are giving a presentation or a speech or any formal talk, you want to use pauses, not fillers. A pause is good, and this is when you just stop speaking for a brief moment. It allows the listener or listeners to take in what you just said, and it can be useful after emphasizing something. Fillers, on the other hand, may not be good because these are words, phrases, and utterances that tell people you're not done speaking and you need a little bit more time to think about what to say next. Right now, let's listen to the difference between using pauses and using fillers. When used correctly, short periods of silence can make all the difference in the world. Your audience is more engaged. People take away more from your presentation, and you will certainly have a greater impact on them. Let's listen to it again, this time using fillers. When used correctly, short periods of silence can make all the difference in the world. Like your audience is more engaged, so people take away more from your presentation. And you will certainly have a greater impact on them. With those pauses, the meaning was clear, and with those fillers, I sounded unsure of myself. Now, that's formal speech, but even in casual conversation, the result may be the same. As an English learner, if you're using too many fillers, it may give the impression that you're either nervous or you're just uncomfortable using the language. So if that's the case, then the goal is just to minimize the use of fillers because it is going to have an impact on your speaking fluency. So let's talk about that right now. How do fillers affect your speaking fluency? Now, fillers may not always be bad, especially in casual conversation. As I told you, we use them naturally. They can help you sound more relatable, as well as give you a moment to catch your breath. But if you're using fillers because you're nervous, or you can't think of a word, or you're unsure about what to say next, that is when they can become a crutch for your speaking fluency. And this is a crutch. It supports you when you have difficulty walking because of an injured leg or foot. And it's a good analogy because if your speaking fluency is injured, you may end up using fillers as a crutch. And that's also why some people refer to fillers as crutch words. The result of using too many crutch words is that the person listening is less likely to hang on to your every word, because using fillers, it really does get in the way of emotional stories if you're trying to tell someone something fascinating that you really think they should hear. Language is expressive, it's emotional, and if you use a lot of fillers, it's just going to take the emotion right out and sound a bit boring and uninspiring. Now, this is inspiring.
I'm dying in your beds many years from now. Would you be willing to trade all the days from this day to that for one chance, just one chance, to come back here and tell our enemies that they may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom?
You can hear that emotion. Those pauses really let everything sink in. It's very impactful. Now, let's listen to it again using fillers.
And dying in your beds many years from now, would you be willing, to trade all the days, from this day to that, for one chance, just one chance to come back here and tell our enemies, like, that they may take our lives, you know? But they'll never take, our freedom!
It's just not the same. The fillers really distract from William Wallace's personality as well as his key message. That second time, he just sounds confused, a little awkward, and it's just not authentic. So then the question becomes, how do you avoid using fillers? The first thing you need to do is just be aware of the fillers that you regularly use. Watch a video of yourself speaking about any topic. If you don't have a video, then record one. Or listen to an audio of yourself giving a presentation or having a conversation. Because once you're aware of the fillers that you regularly use, you'll start to hear these words in your day-to-day communication. And then what you need to do is transition from using a filler to creating a pause. So before saying that filler, you have to catch yourself and force yourself to be quiet, creating that pause. You should also keep building your vocabulary, because I think it's normal for learners to search for a word in the middle of a conversation and then use a filler while this is happening. But as you build your vocabulary, that just means you're not going to have to search as much for those words when you want to express your thoughts, opinions, and ideas. You'll have them ready and you won't have to use a filler. And then just be prepared. If you're giving a presentation, you should practice again and again, because that's going to help you feel more confident. Even with conversation, you should try to get speaking practice on a variety of topics, because that's going to help you feel more comfortable the next time you're speaking about that topic in the future. Please hit that like button. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. So long.